Hey everybody, take two. That's kind of the price you pay when you've got kids making noise. I started recording a little bit ago and I heard them in the background, so I'm going to redo this. Anyhow, this video is about synergy and um, the importance of that when you're attacking your Morton's neuroma. And again, I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice, but this is experience that I'm sharing from me personally, as well as I mean, I can't even give you the total of people I've talked to globally that um, either have, had a really good outcome, when they've gone a conservative route, or they tried things here and there and then it didn't work out. And really, the common denominator that I found for myself, as well as everybody I've talked to that's had a really good outcome without surgery, is they created a synergistic environment for their foot. And what I mean by that is a lot of people that end up having poor outcomes when they've tried, to go as natural as possible for their Morton neuroma. A lot of times, what's happened is they've gotten some of the right things and they're not using them either properly or completely. And what I mean by that is, for example, I've talked to people that, um, you know, and they were honest with me. So to their credit, because some people will say, "Oh, I did all those things," and then later on they're like, "Well, no, I actually didn't do that, and I didn't do this." And so, the hard truth is, um, just as you would with any body part, your elbow, your fingers, your arms, your anything that was ever to be injured or needed healing, you want to give it its best possible shot, to get healed quickly and correctly. And so the same as with Morton's neuroma. And what I mean by that is, back to kind of what I was saying is, some people have said, well, I bought the correct toes and I wore them and, things like that, but that was all they did. And, I mentioned this type of stuff in my book, but you want to create the best possible synergistic environment for your foot to heal. And, as I mentioned, I did the combo of the dehydrated alcohol injections because I wanted to address the nerve internally, which, just a few injections, that's, not a big deal. I don't have to get cut open, anything like that. But then the other part I wanted to handle was, okay, if I'm going to spend the money and the time on doing those three injections, I want to make sure that I've got my foot really primed and ready for. I got a fruit flying here from uh, some of our bananas. But the anyhow, with the environment, I wanted to make sure I've got the best outcome across the area around the nerve. And what I mean by that is, wearing the product, such as correct toes, and which is allowing the metatarsals to be spread. And I was wearing them to sleep. I was wearing them literally every moment I could, because I wanted the metatarsals, after I kind of deformed my forefoot, I wanted them to start to stretch, all of that tissue to stretch back into what it should be. So I was in a pair of sandals a lot with my correct toes. So those were on as much as I can remember. And the additional piece of this was the metatarsal pads. And as I mentioned in the book, and to many, many, many people that have reached out to me, is I bought a bulk package of metatarsal pads that are adhesive to the bottom of my foot. I made sure that, I was putting them in the correct place. That's a key factor. Sometimes people to put them up too high, thinking that the upper end of the teardrop, the wide end needs to be actually touching the fat pad up by the folding space of where the toes meet the foot, and you don't want to do that. So definitely look up online, placement, proper placement. But having the metatarsal pads on, also all day, every day until I felt I was healed. Um, and so that piece, now I've got two products going simultaneously, right? So I've got those two things, and I've got my metatarsals properly spread. I've got my the from the correct toes, and then I'm creating like an ease of pressure in that forefoot area by applying the metatarsal pad, right? So in my scenario, in my example that I did, so I had the dehydrated alcohol injections. I was wearing correct toes constantly. I was wearing the metatarsal pads, adhesive version constantly. And then I was in a pair of zero drop sandals for pretty much everything, or I was barefoot. And, even, for example, when I would go to bed, I would wear a very thin, super stretchy sock. It was just a generic sock. I think it was from like, Target or Walmart, and super thin, super stretchy. And I would sleep with the correct toes on, and that little thin sock helped them stay on. Right. So I've got the dehydrated alcohol injections. I've got the metatarsal pads. I've got the correct toes, and I've got the proper footwear to be used during the day if I needed, if I couldn't be barefoot, for example. And so all of these things, obviously, I also didn't do any working out at that point. Now, the one tricky part was, for me, which really showed me the success I was having with the overall environment I was, putting my foot in at this point, was I had to single-handedly load up I think it was like 22-foot moving trailer pretty much on my own. I had gotten help from one of my buddies, but I had to do that going up and down the ramp in these flat sandals with my correct toes on and with my metatarsal pad on. But I was up and down stairs in my house that we were moving out of. I was up and down the ramp in the moving truck for the trailer. You name it. Again, I hadn't been working out, and that was a real testament to me, because at this point I had all three injections, and I was like, well, we're going to see how this goes, because I had faith it was going to work because of the backdrop of who I'd heard about the dehydrated alcohol injections from, in terms of that ultra runner, marathon runner that had success with it too. So I was like, okay, this is going to work. I had the faith that it was going to work. But yeah, this video is running a little long, I understand, but this is important, because this is, to me, this is the key factor. And like I said, I've talked to people that admitted, very frankly, they're like, well, no, I wore the correct toes, and then I was putting my feet back in, Skechers or whatever. So, which, look, again, you need to work out your physical stuff with your doctor. This is just my opinion. This is my experience. This is also based on talking to people globally that have been honest with me about what they've done. So, all that to say, with the movement of the foot, when I was moving all of our stuff, it was fine. I was really pleased after all of that activity, up and down ramps, up and down stairs, moving, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of furniture, and you name it. It all was good. And so that was really the turning point for me, where I was like, what I thought was going to happen is working. And that's not me tapping myself on the shoulder and, giving myself praise. It's really like just kind of knowing logically, if you apply functional principles to, your body, and have the right things going all at once, the environment is primed and ready for healing. And again, this could be for anything. I mean, I know people that can use this logic for gut issues or what have you. So it's all applicable. But the nature of the synergistic environment for you. So if you're looking at this, you're thinking, okay, well, what can I do? Just really run that checklist down, and say, okay, as it relates to Morton Neuroma, like, am I wearing my correct toes as much as I can, like literally as much as I can? Am I wearing a good adhesive metatarsal pad in the proper spot, like all day, every day? and things like that. And then am I wearing the correct footwear, and not fudging a little bit and sneaking them back in high heels or sneaking them back into a pair of Skechers or, whatever. You really want to make sure that you're getting those feet in the right stuff. So, anyhow, I hope that helps. I hope that adds maybe a little bit of depth on what synergy really looks like and what it doesn't look like. Because what it doesn't look like is, again, just taking one of those products, wearing it every now and then throwing your arms up saying, oh, this doesn't work. That's really not how this whole, like, how our bodies react to efforts that we make to heal. And so, it takes time, so if you're doing it this way, definitely be patient. But you want to make sure that you're not just throwing in the towel and going, oh, these metatarsal pads, didn't work. Or I've seen some people just buy like the single little gel toe spacer and think, okay, I'm going to wear this for a week and I'll be good. That's not how it works. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some patience. It's going to take some faith to kind of keep going after it. But here I am, 7 years, almost, well, yeah, I'll be coming up on 7 years, fully healed, no problems. I can walk on Legos, which I definitely have all over the floor from having kids. But it can be done. And, I don't think I'm super different than anybody else. I think the piece is just, again, asking yourself, am I doing all of the things together at the same time for the long haul? And then after, 6 months, whatever your timeline might be, then you can really ask yourself, okay, how am I feeling? But I see so many people jump right to surgery, because they use correct toes for a few weeks and they're like, man, this stinks, it's not helping. And then, they give up. So it's your call what you do at the end of the day. But I just want to give people hope out there that, like, hey, if you're going to do it, create the right environment, make it consistent, make it long-term, and hold that vision. Because, like, for example, me, I don't wear any big brand shoes. After I found out kind of what was going on, what they were doing to my feet, I threw them all out. I threw out my Nikes, threw out my Reeboks, all of that, because those toe boxes are way too tapered. They got a ton of toe spring. They're not zero drop, and things like that. So for me, I was like, well, I'm not just going to like preach one thing and then do something else. I don't wear those shoes. I don't buy them. I don't wear them. Everything I wear is really specifically what I mentioned in my book. And that's what I'm holding to, and that's how it all has worked out for me. And again, I think it could definitely work for other people. So if you're in this situation, just be aware of what environment you're creating for your foot, and go from there. So, all right, be well.